Hello, my name is Ryan Caldwell, and I will be your instructor for CSIS 1190. This is Excel for Business. So what I plan to do in this video is go over the course outline, which is a blueprint that we'll be going through from start till finish. So let's get started. All right, so the term, of course, is September of 2023. This is who I am. This is my office number. So this is a course outline that you'll receive on the first day. So I just want to go over it rather quickly here. I do have an office time, which I've posted on my door. It's also posted here. I usually show up in my office at minimum of half an hour before each class. All right, so that's we got a class at 3:30. I will be there at at least 3 o'clock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and on Thursdays I'll be there at noon. So I'm in the college quite a bit more than that, but these are my official office hours for the Excel for Business. So feel free to drop in at any of these times. Doesn't matter what particular section that you're in. Now I am teaching this class 3 times in 1 week. So if I could just skip down here, you will be allotted to one of these sections, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Now, I do allow a little bit of flexibility for some students, but you need to approve this with me. If you missed a class on Tuesday and you'd like to sit in on the Wednesday class, I do allow that if there's space available. But that only applies to the lectures. It does not apply to any of the assessments, the quizzes, the midterm, or the final. Those must be written in your assigned section that you've been allotted to. All right, so I want to get that out. Now, the course outline, I put in hyperlinks here in this document. So if you click open it up, you'll see that it takes you to the appropriate site. And that was the college site there. All right, and then I do have a YouTube channel as well. It's where you're getting this one from right here. So you don't have to join it. This is just supplementary information. So what I do in my my videos for this channel is I put on the course outline, and then I go through, these are a couple of the older course outlines. How do you forward your Douglas College email to your personal email? How do you install Microsoft Office? Academic integrity instructions for my course. How do you get set up with my IT lab setup? This is quite a bit there. And also, how does the my IT lab setup feedback work? So if you want to get a head start on this course and like literally a jump start on this course, feel free to go ahead and do that. Now, it will cost a little bit of money. It will cost almost $100 Canadian to get this account, and that includes the online simulated, the assessment, and the e-textbook. So everything's included in that $98 Canadian. And also, I put in a lot of other videos in here, like LinkedIn Learning classes for extra work if you want to learn more beyond this course. That's available to you as well. Plus, I put down all of my lectures online. Now, does that mean that you don't have to come to class? No, of course not. What that means is if you wanted to go back over it, if you missed something, I've got approximately a 1-hour lecture that kind of encapsulates the class that we do face-to-face. This is a face-to-face course, so you definitely have to come to class. It's the online lectures are just there for supplement if you want to do that. All right, so like I said, the class times are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. On Tuesday, Wednesdays, it's 3:30 till 6:20. On Thursday, it's 12:30 till 3:20. All right, if you have a LinkedIn profile and it's complete and you've got a photo and you can feel free to click on my LinkedIn and join my group, which is always good to do with all your instructors. This is my email if you need to contact me directly. I do have written instructions here that's on the website, the Douglas College website, to help students forward their emails from the student.douglascollege.ca to their personal. I highly recommend you guys do this because this way you probably check your personal emails more than you do your Douglas College account. All right, now if you have a Mac computer, we do have a couple of options for you. One is you could dual boot it into a PC. And there's a video here to help you along with that. Another option is to simply use remote.douglascollege.ca. And that allows you to log in and use a virtual computer, basically that's at the college on your Mac. And it behaves like a PC on your Mac, except you don't have the same keys. There's a couple keys that you need to figure out. Now, this course does offer free software. So by all means, download the free Microsoft Office from this course. So the college has purchased that as part of your being a student. And there's some instructions. Here's the remote PC access. And I, again, highly recommend you guys look at this if you have a Macintosh, or if you would just like to connect your computer to the college and do your work sort of through the VPN, that virtual private network. All right. So the e-textbook is going to be this one right here, and you can obtain it at the Douglas College bookstore. So if you click on this, you can see here that it is $98. I believe there's tax on that as well. So you can add it, and basically it gives you an electronic code. All you get is an access code that you can get in, and it accesses the MIT lab with the e-text. And that's what I use for my course. It's I do not recommend you buy the physical book unless you really want to. If you do, it's about another $70, I think, more on top of that. So if you want to do that, that's your option. You can do that as well. All right, now once you have purchased this, and again, I would highly recommend that if you do purchase this early in the course, that you access the free 14 days. So you don't have to buy this. You can get the 14 free day ahead of time to sort of try it out and see if you like it. If you don't like it, well, then you might not want to take the course, or for whatever reasons, you're not going to spend that money, that $100. All right. If you do decide to continue, which most of you will have to access my IT lab. And to do that, this is the code. I put it in red a couple times here, and that's the code that you'll need to connect to my account. Now, I do put up a link here for student data files. This is actually open on the net, so if you just have to click on it. Full book download, so you can go in here, you can go into Excel, or actually we're going to be looking a little bit at Office, Word, and Excel. We're not going to do any Access or PowerPoint. But if you do go into, let's say, Excel right here, it downloads it into an Excel file, and it has all the resource files that you'll need. All right. And there's also individual chapter downloads if you want to go into a particular chapter, like chapter number 1, if that's, and again, it'll download it into your computer. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So you got a lot of resources for the downloading all the resource files. Now we do have a OneDrive account, and every student that has a 1 terabyte of drive space. So you have a lot of drive space. I really encourage you guys to go in here, look at your cloud drive, and start saving everything on the cloud and get comfortable with that. And it makes a world of difference rather than you using a USB drive, which sometimes people lose. I have a whole bunch of student USB drives. I can't find out who owns them. So definitely take a look at this, and it's free. It's part of your student account. You get this when every student signs up. We pay Microsoft for all the software and the OneDrive, etc. All right. Now, if you're online and you're working abroad, this was more to do when we were on lockdown, but it's not anymore. But we will be having courses according to Vancouver or Pacific Standard Time here. All right, there is a learning center at Douglas that you guys can go to and check out. And there's also a open computer lab. So if you need to do any homework and you want to do it at school, your computer's not working that well, or you have problems with your computer, you can always go to the New Westminster campus, go to room 6212 and check it out. All right, moving on. LinkedIn Learning. Now, this is really, really a nice feature. A lot of students don't know about this, and it's free for Douglas students. The college pays a subscription fee. It's sort of like Netflix for education. You can go in here and learn all sorts of courses, even if it has nothing to do with Excel for business course. All your other courses have other online courses that are excellent, the highest of quality of online learning. These are also get connected to your LinkedIn account, so it publishes that you've taken a particular online course. Some courses are as short as an hour and as long as 20 hours. So I highly recommend, again, this one as well. You really want to go out and check that out. If you have any computer problems, I'm not the person to really talk to. You can call this number right here, and these guys are very prompt and trying to help students. Most problems end up being authentication, login problems, for example. This is a link to solve login problems. All right. I do also kind of conform my course to the Microsoft certification or the Microsoft Office certification exam, MOS. I've done several of these myself, and this is just a link that gives you information about what the certification is and what it means. Because Excel is such a common tool in business, virtually everybody needs to know Excel and needs to be proficient at Excel. So what I've done here, and I'll do this in the lecture portion because this gets outdated a little bit, but I basically go through and say, well, if you look at the job market, how often does Excel pop up? And all you have to do is go into, and I'm just going to do this for the sake of this example, go to New Westminster, look for jobs that have Excel, and there are 5,700 jobs that have the word Excel in it. Now that could be just means to excel in your job, but most jobs do require you to have, maybe just to get a little more specific, let's just go with Microsoft Excel. Nope, let's go Microsoft Excel and see how many do we get. Okay, so 2,000 to have Microsoft Excel in it. All right, and then, so it really doesn't matter what you're applying for, you need to be proficient with this tool. So this is a very practical course. This is a course that everybody who works should know this. This is a good tool even for your own personal use as well. All right, let's move on to the next one here. So that's why we're learning Excel, because everybody needs it. Employers actually will test you when you guys go out. So just an extra note here, that when you apply for a job, even though you have a degree or diploma, if you don't pass the internal HR's Excel test, you may not get the job. So that's why I really emphasize this. Microsoft Office certification kind of preps people for that exam. That's why I've got it in here. And it's something that I really emphasize because I want people to become really good at it. Excel is not a very difficult topic, but there's a lot of details. It's kind of like playing the piano, right? It's like, although playing the piano is very difficult, but pushing the keys are easy. But to make it sound nice, it takes lots and lots of practice. If you guys have ever played an instrument, you know what I'm talking about. Excel's a little bit like that, where you do need to practice a lot, and there's just so much. And the better you are at Excel, the more efficient, the better employers want. They want you to be able to do something in as least amount of time as possible. If you don't know what you're doing, it could take you a day. If you know what you're doing, it could take you literally minutes. So that's why employers want this. All right, let's move on to the course. This is the tentative schedule. I do put down a disclaimer here, subject to change, because there is possibility. During the first week, I do go over the course outline, my IT lab setup, the OneDrive, the operating, and I basically throw the ball out to you guys. I don't really talk a whole lot about the operating system concepts. How to use how do you do file management? I do a little bit of that. I kind of focus on file management, make sure the students are set up properly for the course. But how to use your desktop and how to use Notepad and all that kind of stuff, I don't spend a whole lot of time. My IT lab does a better job than I do, so I kind of outsource it to that. I spend time talking about how to do configurations, get set up, and get you running on independently. I kind of follow a similar mode in the second week with Word. I do chapters 1, 2, and 4 in Word, because I find most students have done Word. They kind of know what Word is. And these chapters are geared towards essential skills. And chapter 4 kind of goes in on how to use and to write papers for citations, for academic writing, and things that you might need as you progress through your educational track here. So I spend a little bit of time going through what the main learning objectives are for these chapters, but because of time constraints, I can't get through all of it. This is an Excel for Business, so I do focus on Excel primarily. So what happens in my classes, is I have these micro quizzes. Now, micro quizzes are just small quizzes, like 10 questions, and they're all simulated. Means show me how to do it. So I might ask you, how do you organize folders, or within inside of the Explorer? How do you set the background image? Things like that. So it's an actual practical show me on the computer how to do it, and it's through the simulated environment in my IT lab. Each week we have a quiz, an exam. So I do this for a few reasons. It keeps students on track. I've done this for a while, and I find if I give you guys a week to learn about the operating system, people will review it, and then they come in and I do a quick assessment. Keeps you coming to class, keeps you engaged, keeps you following the program. And they're very short. 10-minute type of assessments, very quick and easy to do. So usually what I do when you first come into class, you log in, you get ready for the quiz. Right at 3:30 or at 12 o'clock, we just start the quiz and we get it over with. It's done, it's over, and we move on to the lecture portion. All right. So in the third week, I start Excel. And Excel, I follow the learning objectives of the textbook quite closely because they are articulated with the Microsoft Office Specialist certification as well. So Pearson does articulate with the industry standards, and a lot of companies, they want this as well. They want you to have these basic essential skills at that point. During that week, week 3, there will be another quiz. You can see that's this quiz for concept number 2. So you're thinking, well, what is operating system concepts? Well, you'll learn it all up here, and then you might learn a little bit more in week 2. So in week 3, I give you a quiz on concepts for quiz number 2. And I'll explain this in more detail. I'm sure it seems a little bit overwhelming right now. Also, at the end of every week after this point, you will have to do a take-home assignment. Now, again, this is a sort of an assignment like open up Word, type in type out a resume, follow the following, and then upload it to the website. It marks it, it grades it, it gives feedback, and I'll go through and explain how all that works in detail. I also have videos on my YouTube page to show you how that works. All right, week 4, it's the pattern begins. You can see what happens here is I start chapter 2 of Excel. We do a chapter 1 quiz, and then we do Word assignments 2 and 4 because you've had time already to do that. In fact, you've had 2 weeks to get these ones in, so it's lots of time to get those in for marking. And then it just progresses like that throughout the rest of the course until we get to the midterm. So in this June, we'll do a midterm. Midterm exam will be Word chapters 1, 2, and 4 because that's what you've done here and what we've done over here for assessment. And I'll also go through Excel chapters 1 to 4. Now I don't include 5 on the midterm because I've got all these other chapters. All right. So that's how that's going to work. And this exam is going to be a simulated exam. It's basically you sit down at the computer, you sit down in front of Word, it'll ask you how to do something, and you have to show the skills to do it. So it's a very, very practical assessment. Now we just come back to class and we just start repeating that. Go through chapter 6 all the way to chapter 10. And you can see here we finish off in the 14th week, which is the last week of class. There's only, I think, a couple of days, the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we'll have the quiz will be due that week, the last quiz. And also, usually I have like a final review of, I should say final review maybe. The date, I will post it to be announced, will be published, and you'll have the date. The final will be August the 11th all the way to the 19th at latest, and that'll only be on chapters 5 to 10. I've already done your assessments in the quiz and the midterm for 1 to 4, so all I'm going to do is chapter 5 to 10. All right, so that's how you're going to be assessed for this course. The course materials, as I indicated, are My IT Lab. You can go to the bookstore. There's another link there to take you there. More information about if you have a Macintosh. This is the calendar description for our course outline, our curriculum guideline, they call them, on the website. All right, let's move down. There's an empty page there. So here are the objectives. I won't go through all of these, but just to kind of encapsulate most of this, the objective of this course is really to give you a comprehensive knowledge. I'd say make you a mid-range to like a junior expert level. You're not going to be an expert by the time you finish this because Excel goes way beyond this course into programming. I'll do a little demonstration and show you how some of that works, but we'll be going into some pretty advanced concepts, looking at built-in functions. We'll be looking at writing some basic macros, which is really neat to automate processes and tasks. We'll be looking at pivot tables, which is something that a lot of companies want you to be able to do. This is one of the main questions on the test. And just working with all sorts of nuances to do with Excel. And then also, hopefully, by the end of this course, you'll be able to look at Excel as a tool for looking at data and visualizing data. And that's really the end result that I would like to achieve as my objectives for this course. And in chapters 1 to 10 in Excel, we'll get through all that and more. All right, the evaluation. How are you going to get an A in this course? Well, it's pretty easy to get an A in my course. If you do the work, it's pretty much an A. I find this course, I have an inverse bell curve with grades. I usually get a lot of people get A's, and a lot of students, unfortunately, they don't make it. Primarily because they just don't do the work. It's kind of like practicing piano. Like we don't like practicing piano. It's not that, sometimes it's not that fun. So if we can make it more interesting for you to kind of engage with some examples, like I have a lot of personal examples that we can do for you, like your personal budget, or when you're buying your first car, or for your first house, or if you're buying stocks, something that's hopefully gets you motivated to learn this is one of my objectives. So 26% of your overall grade is based on just doing assignments that you take home. So there are 3 word assignments. Have you seen it from the schedule above? There's 10 Excel assignments. Each are worth 2. You do the math, that's 26%. I do allow students to submit their assignments twice, which is really cool, I think, because it allows you to do the assignment, submit it, go back, review it, find out if you did anything wrong, correct it, and then re-upload it. And I'd say most students get like over 95% with my assignments, because they are able to go back and look at very detailed feedback and then re-upload their assignments, which is, I do this because, not to give away marks, but if you didn't do something right, it's because you don't know it. By going back and figuring it out, then you'll learn it. And that's really my objective. It's just, we want to learn this stuff. And this just helps identify what you didn't maybe pick up on the first attempt, so you have 2 attempts to do that. Now the quizzes, every class, like I said, almost every class you're going to come in. There's 12 of them. And unfortunately, there's no rewrite. So if you don't make it to class, sorry, you're not going to be able to rewrite it. There's 2 operating systems, 10 Excels, 2 each. Do the math, that's 24%. 1 attempt for each quiz. So you can only write the quiz once. It's just these are short, quizzes, 10 minutes-ish. And we do one pretty much each week. And it must be written in class. There's no retakes, etc. All right, so the midterm is worth 20%. The final is worth 30%. And that reflects also the time, the amount of work that you're going to have to do for each of these. I do give, I think actually this is not correct. I think it's 1.5 hours, this one. This one's almost 2 hours. This might be modified, the timing, because I think I've modified these a little bit. But this is what we will be, it'll be close to that anyway. It's not a three-hour exam by any means. All right. Now there is a rule at Douglas, in order to pass a course, you must receive over 50% of your assessments, and that includes quizzes, your midterm, and your final. So even if you did excellent on your, your assignments, and let's say you passed all your quizzes, but you failed out on 50%, or you didn't show up for the midterm or the final, then, or even just the final, you wouldn't pass the course. Even though you actually technically got maybe a C in the class without doing the final, you don't pass the course. So definitely keep that in mind, that we want to do that. I'll let you read through the college policy on what a UN grade is if you don't complete the assessments. This is a breakdown of the table. You probably have seen that. Now, I do want to talk a bit about plagiarism, cheating. Like I said, learning Excel is kind of like playing an instrument. You're not going to learn it unless you do it yourself. So you can just hand in other people's work into the online system and get grades for it. But the system will detect it. So this is all, there's so much auditing systems in the background, and there's so many search queries and stuff. So, don't do this. And if someone asks you for your work and they're going to submit it, both students will be assigned a grade of 0. You might have done the work, and this has happened to me several times, unfortunately. Students that do the work, good students, they get convinced to surrender their work to another student for whatever reasons. The other student submits it. It's detected. I'm alerted. Both students get letters from the dean. This is an academic integrity issue, so I highly recommend that you don't do that. And you may end up getting an FD on your transcript as a possibility. That's probably the worst case. And if you get one of those, it shows up in your permanent record, and it really has it's a real blemish. Okay. Anyway, my point is, don't do that. Just don't even submit it, or just submit whatever you can. Sometimes you will get part marks for your assignments, so definitely submit what you can, but do it yourself. And it's better to get an honest A, or an honest C, than a dishonest A, I guess. All right, so I'll let you go through and read up some of the regulations for students. The late assignments, I don't do late assignments. Partially because everything is scheduled months in advance, like from the time you get this until the end of the course, everything is scheduled. So if a student says, well, I don't have time to do it, I'm kind of like, well, if it's been, a month or two and you've known about it, it's a deadline. So deadlines, I like to follow. I get deadlines. When you go to work, you're gonna have deadlines. So let's get in the habit of meeting those deadlines. All right. If you're at work, there's probably, there's gonna be a price to pay if you don't meet a deadline at work, which could be drastic. All right, what other things should I mention in here? Late assignments. If you miss a test or a quiz, we really don't want this to happen because it requires a lot of work. Instructors have to set up another exam, another date, another room, another scheduling. All right, so that's probably enough about late assignments. Missed tests and finals. Let's see. Anyway, I'll let you go through and read up about student conduct and all that kind of stuff. All right, yeah, so that's pretty much the end of this video explaining the course outline for CSIS 1190, Excel for Business. So I hope that helps. You guys can get a head start on the class. I'll publish this, and if you have any questions, I won't be able to respond until after the course is started. So, do your best, and I'll see you in class.